Flow, or being in the zone, is defined as an optimal mental state characterized by deep absorption during challenging tasks. Flow induces a loss of sense of self and time. Flow indicates fluidity, a smoothness to your decision-making and actions. Flow is Michael Jordan. Flow is Beethoven. Flow is Alan Turing. Flow is Kiriko. How about that for overly dramatic? I always wanted to make one of those Google search intros, so hyperbole, I know, though not as much as you'd think. As a support main, Kiriko isn't entirely unique, but stands alone, king of the hill when it comes to flow. You feel as though gameplay is literally pouring out of the hero. Effortless, dynamic, fluid, and rewarding. I dare say she single-handedly saved the support role in Overwatch 2 for me personally. While flow itself is an objective thing, getting there is anything but. Different people discover it in different ways, but we've all felt it at some point in life. You know, those times when everything just clicks. I felt it in athletics, music, gaming, and even programming. To me, those moments I feel like a machine, a symphony of brain signals that cease to be independent data streams and instead become an actual system unto itself of which you are now a part of. There's no thought, there's no you, just instinct. It's pure escapism, pure enjoyment. But in gaming specifically, it extends beyond your skill and the challenge. The actual character design is of critical import. Clunky mechanics and poor risk versus rewards aren't conducive to achieving a flow state. Ideally, hero abilities need to come naturally and quickly and provide immediate and obvious feedback. Playing the hero needs a natural flow to it. This is where Kiriko shines. I've seen a lot of debate on just what Kiriko is supposed to be and how you're supposed to play her. The answer depends on your skill level. I think more than any other support, what level you play at will determine what playstyles are available to you. For example, within the support role, Kiriko has the highest DPS when critting, but the lowest when not, and her kunais are projectile based, making it hard to do so. So those with crack aim and skill and say GM can and arguably should play her as almost a third DPS, while those with average aim and skill should probably not. For the average Joe, her power comes from utility, versatility, and mobility. Definitely not really healing and only sort of DPS. Her focus is bailing teammates out of tight situations and partnering with them to secure kills. It's that simple. Once that sinks in, your eyes open up and you realize gameplay opportunities are everywhere.
Congratulations. You are being rescued.
It seems pretty obvious to me the intent behind her design was to create a playmaker. What do I mean by that? Well, let me ask you this. Aside from hostile enemies, what's the biggest obstacle for support players in supporting the team? I'd argue line of sight and by proxy positioning. How many times have we all watched a teammate die through a wall or just out of line of sight? Many times in every game, right? That's not gameplay, that's frustration. But Kiriko's kit removes those barriers and the result is a role and gameplay that hasn't really traditionally been available. You don't need to be as reactionary anymore. You can be more proactive. You can instantly get where you need to be with the tools to change the outcome. Suddenly, the term playmaker comes into focus. It doesn't just mean affecting critical moments. It means being afforded the luxury of putting myself in position to make plays, which on any other support just wouldn't be possible, at least not to this degree. Lucio, Moira, and Mercy can get around pretty good, but not this level. And I think that's the core to her flow-inducing design. Critical to being in the zone is the feeling that you aren't waiting for the game to come to you. Rather, you're meeting it head on your terms. In a sense, you are the flow of the game, not the other way around. So the style I've settled on and one I can recommend for the average Joe is one that focuses on putting out fires. Swift Step, Protection Suzu. Swift Step, Protection Suzu. I'm constantly on the lookout for isolated and or low health enemies.
Relax everybody, I'm here.
Teleport, do what needs done, and move on to the next. It's like my own mini game within the game, both with their own flow. Could be offensive, could be defensive, whatever. And arguably my favorite part is just the blind leap of faith. Often I've no idea what I'm jumping into and the moment's exhilarating. It's pretty fun and risky. Like I said, this is just my personal isolated little view based on my skill level. Those with better aim might be able to make her work as more DPS, and those with better teamwork might be able to make her work as more a healer, well, you know, just spamming chokes with kunais. But for me personally, I'm going right down the middle and playing her as a pure support. A little of both. Seriously, this is serious stuff. Let's get serious here. Come on. Okay, Swift Step is Kiriko's defining ability, the heart of her kit in my opinion. The sheer utility it provides is arguably unparalleled in the game. Any teammate within 35 meters is just a click away every 7 seconds. It's nuts. And I think its power, when considered in conjunction with her healing, is a subtle message from the devs on how she should be played. Whether you have an offensive or defensive mindset, they want you to get out there and support your team. Don't sit behind the tank and be a heal bot. Look around, make your own fun and engaging moments. If Swift Step is the heart of Kiriko's kit, Protection Suzu is its soul. When we combine the two, the synergies are obvious. While brief, just 1 second, there's an obscene amount of power packed into this little ability. Invulnerability, cleanse, small knockback, and its AoE. I use it almost universally immediately after any kind of offensive teleport. Often it saves your teammate's life and almost always saves me from the immediate wall of DPS and stuns heading my way. I can't tell you how many teammates I save every single round with Protection Suzu. It's amazing. I mean, just watch this little clip combining Swift Step and Protection Suzu. I don't know how many lives I save here, including my own, in like 5 seconds. It's great.
Let the Kitsune guide you!
Watch your back.
I hear. Kanezaka Ginger protects you.
Who needs healing?
Now, I've seen debate regarding her HPS and DPS. Most seem to think they're too low or the travel time too slow, and I will say at first I too thought her healing Fudas were too slow, but she's not really meant to be played as a ranged healer. When you step back and really consider the intent behind her design, I have to say I think both are fine. I could make an argument for any of those falling short, but I'm also being a realist here and considering my skill level. I'm putting up pretty respectable numbers in both cases despite being new, and when I think about someone with crack aim and say GM, I could make a case the other way that both might be a bit much, at least the kunai. So in considering the totality of it all, I think Blizz struck a nice middle ground where Kiriko isn't bad in the average player's hands, but also isn't grossly OP in the hands of a pro. At least that's how it's looking, but the league will probably prove me wrong again. Now, Kitsune Rush, her ultimate is nuts. 50% move speed, rate of fire, and reload speed. It also grants a 3-time cooldown reduction to abilities and has amazing synergies with pretty much everything. It is a bit temperamental in terms of placements, but the easiest way to decide if you can throw it or not is to just ask yourself if the fox can run there. Like, if you throw it against a wall, it'll just stop. Earlier I mentioned how Kiriko gameplay feels like it just pours out of the hero, and that's for 2 reasons. First are how her abilities complement each other. I mean, she gets all that, and let's not forget she has wall climb. But second is the actual feel. It's a nebulous thing, so let me explain it like this. Anna, my main, feels like I'm using a bucket of water to douse a fire. Kiriko feels like I'm using a hose. They'll both get you wet, but one inherently feels smoother and easier to use. Don't get me wrong, that's not a slight, just a difference. It's just from a pure feel perspective, Kiriko seems more instinctual with less overhead. Not to say she's easier, not at all. Maybe natural is the right word. She just flows. So, final thoughts. Honest truth, without Kiriko, I'm not sure I'd like Overwatch 2 as much. Not that she's that good, just a breath of fresh air. After years of waiting, supports finally get a new hero, and she's crazy fun to play, and she fits in this new version of the game. Whether you think the pace of Overwatch 2 is good or bad, you can't deny Kiriko fits in it. Is she a representation of peak hero design in Overwatch? I don't know, who am I to judge? I will say though, having played since launch of the original, you do see an evolution in kits and gameplay. Not saying they're any better than OG heroes, just different. I feel like as time's moved on, new heroes have more open-ended gameplay, whereas the originals were all purpose-built. But in terms of engaging gameplay loops and rhythm, I think they nailed it with Kiriko, and a lot of lessons learned shine through. Though I wonder, is the nature of her design the future of support heroes? Arguably more support than healer? I'm inclined to say no. I looked for a quote but couldn't find it, which said something to the tune of Blizzard's aware people like certain playstyles, and they had plans to add new heroes to fit those. And I think they specifically cited Mercy. We'll see, but I hope that's true, because as awesome as Kiriko is, she's not for everyone. Her skill floor is a bit demanding and her skill ceiling's pretty much limitless, but man, I'm telling you, once you get a grip playing her, it is flow inducing. I'm watching this footage that I've recorded over the last few days, even since I've played then, a handful of hours, it's like my gameplay has evolved so much. Her abilities complement each other, she complements every hero, she complements the team and teamwork, and playing feels effortless, and the beautifully fluid animations, that long slicing firing sound effect, the satisfying plunk of a crit. Oh man, it's a symphony of satisfying IO. And with that, I'm done. Appreciate taking the time. Take care of one another, and I will see you soon.